Welcome back, everybody, to the Fighting for Freedom podcast. I just want to say thank you to everybody for all your love and support. You guys have helped this channel grow dramatically. If you could please, at this time, drop us a like, comment, subscribe, share our podcast, turn on those bell notifications, and leave us a rating and good review. I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much.
Fighting for freedom, one podcast at a time.
Hello. Good morning, good evening, afternoon, and welcome to another episode on the pod. Today I'm joined by UT1 Leon, who is currently overseas in Okinawa, Japan. Leon, how you doing today?
I'm doing great, man. How are you?
Doing good, man. So I understand you're in Japan. I want to know how you got there. Your upbringing. Where were you born? Where did you grow up? How was school? How was your childhood? Was there any military background in there?
Yes. I've actually still active duty. I've been in for 15 years. I have a lot of experience, man. My childhood, if you want to start there.
Yeah. Go for it, man.
Actually, not a natural born American citizen. I am a citizen, but I was actually born in the Caribbean, a small country called Trinidad and Tobago. It's literally a dot on the map if you were to look at it. I didn't move over to the United States, migrate, until I was about 14. I had some medical stuff I had to do, but if anybody knows anything about the Caribbean, it's pretty much a bunch of old colonies from back in the day when the British ruled.
Yeah, definitely.
And it still have like third world country type stuff. So like, yes, we have like hospitals and power. We don't use fire and stuff, but it's not a very good medical like experience. So if anything's like seriously wrong, they usually try to, like, my parents raise money to get me to go over to the United States to like get surgery, and that was actually what kind of led me to staying in the United States, because I needed multiple surgeries. So they thought it was just one surgery, but I needed basically 3 surgeries.
And you were literally fighting for freedom.
Yeah, absolutely. My parents were already United States citizens. I lived with my grandmother in the Caribbean, so they filed for me all legally. Had like a green card and all that stuff. I was actually accepted to high school in Valley Stream, New York, because my parents were in the process of moving from Queens, Brooklyn area to Valley Stream, which is a little more residential. Taxes are a lot higher. But the schooling was able to take me there with a green card, and while I go through like my surgery and stuff. And my parents actually filed for me. And I know you're probably wondering where the military comes into this. It's not a huge military area where I'm from, but my brothers were already in the Navy.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So
are they still currently in the Navy?
My brother, Alex, ITC, that's
Oh.
E7 for someone that's listening that doesn't know. He actually got out as a chief because he didn't see himself making senior chief, and also he has like kids and stuff, and he wants to spend more time with them. So he got out, but he's doing the same job, man. He's doing the same job in Virginia, and he makes like quadruple the income he did as a service member. So
Yeah, that's like a big thing for service members. It's like,
yeah.
the skills that you learn and
Mhm.
you adapt, and,
Yes.
everyday basis, you're, for example, a crane operator. And in the
Absolutely.
military, you get that base normal pay. But when you take that skill and you bring it to the outside world, a crane operator is not too normal, not too common. And they pay great, so
Yes.
good.
Yeah, so it's crazy you mentioned that. Because I know there's probably like a lot of people on the fence with like, I want to join the military and I don't know what to do.
Yeah, I bet we were
And,
both in that boat at one time, No
yeah,
pun intended.
absolutely, absolutely. A good example would be I talked about high school. I graduated in like '06 or '07, I don't remember, but I remember I was the last class that got to experience like wood shop and welding and all this other stuff, and there was like this huge thing about the school cutting the funding and like getting rid of it, and like we don't need that stuff. And that's so crazy to me because now I feel like today, present, 19th of August, 23, the world is completely switched upside down, man. Like all those people they told that you need to have college, you need to, woodworking is not going to get you anywhere. Dude, have you like really looked around and like tried to quote anything to like, even like something's wrong with your car, like mechanics, right? You want to build a deck outside, like that stuff costs a lot of money. Like
Yeah.
those
No,
people,
100%.
those people that were told, like myself, like this is just a hobby. Like you can't work doing this. Like you need to go to college. All that turned out to be the complete opposite, man. And the reason I'm talking about this is because you should always have a plan. Even if you're a kid, I understand. Like you're 18, I still consider that a kid. I'm sorry. Uh, you haven't figured out your life yet, and that's okay. Like you're still, you have a lot of time, man. 18 years, even at 30, you have people switching careers. 40. It's good to have like a little plan of like what you want to do, what you see yourself doing. And that might change, but it's good to still have a plan. And what it was for me is that I told my mom like I'm gonna join the military. She was very upset. My father was very happy. I talk to my brothers all the time. I'm very close with my brother. Not my oldest brother, but I have another brother. He's an HM1. I talk to him a lot. We're closer in age, and he was explaining to me because he was an E5, I think. He was explaining to me that he chose a career that, at the time, it wasn't very transferable in the civilian world. But things have changed, and he has a job that's a lot more transferable now. And that's the biggest thing. Because of him, I wanted to do a job that if I was to not like the military, or if I wanted to get out my first term, I would have something to fall back on. And I already liked working with my hands because, like, I gave college a try, man. I don't want anybody to think that, like, oh, he wasn't good at school. I actually had.
Yeah, no, same here. I went to college.
I had a 3.7 average, which is not bad, but it's not great either. And there's a reason for that, because, like, I went to college, man. I had, like, 2 dead-end jobs. I worked at Sears, and I worked at Costco, like, like, restocking at, like, 2 a.m.
Yeah.
And, so I kind of helped my mom out a little bit with the money, and because I usually took the bus. I had a car, I took the bus. It was just more fun that way. This could be a whole other podcast if we talked about
that's a New Yorker if I've ever heard one, bro.
100%.
Well, I mean, in New York, because I'm from New York as well, and for you to drive 5 miles, it takes you an hour and a half.
Absolutely.
But if you just hop on a bus, the bus drivers drive, I don't know what lane they take or what tunnels they know. But, public transportation is always the way to go in New York. But, yeah, man, 100%.
I did it for the experience. It's just the type of people you met on there, man. And
yeah, I bet you have some great stories,
I have some. I can talk about that for hours. But,
yeah, we're going to get into those. We're going to get into those.
But, so I did college for 2 semesters, actually. And at some point, I remember I was eating this sandwich in like our little cafeteria, and I saw this commercial on there, and I was like, man, like, is this really my life right now? Like, I'm watching other people do what I wanted to do, but here I am trying to please my mother and giving college a shot.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, two semesters is a shot. That's the shot right there. So It was basically me. I didn't go to class after that. Actually, dude, I skipped my next 2 classes. And it was just me just pondering, do I want to stay in college and make my parents happy? Or do I, like, actually want to do something for myself? Because I felt so stuck, man. Like, I felt like I just went from school to like dead end job to getting a little bit of sleep to back to school again. And I had a lot of, so in New York, there's a lot of people that are super liberal. I don't like to get into politics, but um they share a lot of views and they put those views on people in the colleges, which is crazy. Because, like, I remember getting into heated arguments on why certain people shouldn't be presidents. And I remember getting, like, a C on my paper, but I gave it to another professor, and he was like, dude, this is well written.
Yeah.
And,
I mean, everyone's got an opinion these days, right?
and
Opinions
exactly.
are like assholes. Everyone has one.
I got a grade based on my professor's opinion of what I wrote. So,
Yeah.
and then I read, so they made us read it in front of the class, and like it was like this debate, right? And I was like listening to people, and I was just like, there's no way this dude wrote this. Like, this is terrible. Like, I can write better than this if I started last night. Right? And no, because I'm not trying to like downplay anybody or political views. It's not about that. I was
No, not at all.
in high school.
It's your point of view, you know?
Yeah, in high school I was like an AP, like advanced. I was in AP Lit. I was in a lot of AP classes. I just, as I said, man, I just didn't think that was my life. So like I just listening to them, and then they're not really sourcing anything. It's basically all about their feelings, pretty much, right? And that's like what we have today. Everything is based on your feelings, really. But yeah, so I got home, man, and I finally told my mom, I'm like, yo, I'm signing up. And she was very disappointed. To give some background on that, my mom was a registered nurse for like 30 years.
Yeah. Well, no mom is going to be happy the day that their child comes home and says, hey, guess what? I'm shipping out.
Yeah.
But speaking of shipping out, so boot camp, right? That day, everyone remembers that day.
Yes.
That, you know, they send you to the hotel and you're with all these other people. You have no idea who they are. And if you live close, your family comes to see you.
Yes.
That morning you wake up, you have that shitty breakfast. Or if you're fat, you just eat ice cubes so you can make weight when you get to, day one.
Mm-hmm.
That day for you, you got on the bus took you to the airport. From the airport, you took a bus to boot camp in Great Lakes, Illinois, correct?
Correct.
And now, how did that go? Walk me through it.
Oh, okay. So I got to boot camp on the 15th of March, 2010.
Wow.
I was picked up the day before by my recruiter.
Yep.
My parents said they would actually, be at MEPS and stuff when I go to swear in and all that.
Yeah.
I had a very difficult time with, I mean, I can talk about this now because it's the past and they don't really criminate you for this, but I used to smoke a lot, dude. I did a lot of...
Hey, you know what, man? That's all right, you know.
Yeah,
it is what it is.
Yep. So
but you know what though? It's like you don't have to really be ashamed of it because earlier in this pod you said you were working 2 jobs. You know, you were helping out your parents. You were going to school. You had good grades. You were doing what you have to do.
Yeah.
There's no shame in doing whatever the fuck you want to do when you're doing the right thing. That's that's the way I was brought up. You know, I never really did anything bad because, I try to not please my parents, but, just stay out of harm's way and just do what I got to do.
But, my point is we got to MEPS, right? And, I remember, you do that piss test or whatever? I don't know if you remember. But,
yes, I remember.
Dude, my line had about 200 people. So, right? And, my last name's Leon. So they're like, I was like, oh man, they're going to do a height line.
Yeah.
I look at everybody else and like everybody's super tall. I'm like, hell yeah. But then they're like, nah, last name. So I was like, damn. So like I was hella like in the back, bro. And I was like, and they're like doing piss tests, but then they're like going in different directions.
Yeah.
Bro, there was like 55 people that like popped.
Yeah, I mean, I had the same thing, and they tell you, they're like, if you have something to tell us now, and everyone's like, Dude, I am not saying nothing.
Dude.
I am taking the chance, and so be it. I got a free ride to Chicago.
Yeah, so I pissed, they do their whatever, and they put me over here, and then I hear them yelling at the other section, like, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, wow, I'm really doing this. And then they, like, take you downstairs to, like, swear in, right?
Yeah, of course.
My parents were there. My mom still looked upset. But it was actually the first time I seen my father cry, dude. Like, it's crazy. I was like, I've had a pretty rough childhood, man. My father never really had feelings and shit. Maybe it's the job. He was a detective for a while, so maybe I don't know. That kind of ruined his feelings, but there's not a whole lot of feeling sharing. So, that was the first time I heard my father say he was proud. And,
oh, wow.
That was kind of like, I guess, solidifying that I was making the right choice. And so we swear in and all that stuff. We were waiting for a while because there's so many people, man. Which is really funny because the military is all about hurry up and wait. And that was like your first experience of like waiting on a bus or whatever for so long. And I actually didn't leave that same day. They put us in a hotel. And they still treated us like civilians, which is funny. We still got like a meal and stuff. They're like, hey man, like how you doing? And then you finally get on that plane and you drive to actual boot camp. Mm-hmm. And when you get off that bus, that's when it really kicks in that you are no longer a civilian. Like that was crazy. Now, boot camp wasn't very difficult for me, man. But I watched a lot of people struggle. And I'm not talking about the physical aspects of stuff. I'm more so talking about stuff that your parents didn't do, you're gonna struggle with. When I got to boot camp, I thought it was so crazy that people didn't know how to, like, fold their clothes. Or, no, you're laughing, bro. Shower.
Yeah, no, it's true though. But you want to know what though? It's like boot camp for me, and I'll get into this for all my viewers later on. I'll go over my life for a nice internal. But I didn't fold clothes. I was an Italian kid in a single mother raised family, and I didn't do fucking laundry. I was a schema. I sold lollipops and candy in high school.
Okay.
When I was in boot camp, I was in charge of all of the laundry, So I used to tell some of my rack mates, I'd be like, yo, you fold my clothes, I'll put 2 Tide Pods in your laundry. Yo. And your clothes would be really good, I had a little system going. Hey, I'm not shining my boots. You shine my boots, and I got 3 Tide Pods in your laundry. And if you didn't do nothing for me, your clothes just went on a cold, quick cycle with no Tide Pods.
Wow, you were just a hustler from day one.
Yeah, man. Hey, from day one, man. I walked in there and I was like, hey, this place sucks. There's a lot of dudes here. Mm-hmm. I'm getting yelled at by a bunch of grown dudes.
Yeah.
And, I went to boot camp, like, later on. I was, like, a late bloomer, I guess you could say. I joined when I was 23. And there's guys that are 25, 26 yelling at me. I'm like, who the fuck you think? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I'm
absolutely, man.
So I was like, yo. I was Vinny, you gotta step it up, Yeah. We gotta make out of this thing.
Yeah, and that's so crazy because you were in the spotlight the whole time, dude. Yeah. I was so good at what I did. They didn't know who I was. I was in a push division. For anybody listening, a push division is let's say there's like a shortage in like a certain job, or we need to get to Afghanistan, because that's what it was for me. I was in what you call a push division, and there were only nukes, only corpsmen, which is like your medical guys, and then I was the only CB. The only CB in that class. It was insane, man, because that 5 weeks is just completely rushed. You're doing the same amount of work, just a lot less time to really sit down. Like, a lot of people had holiday hours. They usually do on Sunday, right? Because you can go to church and stuff.
Yeah. Well, everyone went to church, though. I went to gospel.
Oh, okay.
Jewish church. I went to every. I was so religious in boot camp.
Yeah.
And then I got out, and I was like, dude, it's Sunday. I'm not waking up. Like,
Absolutely. Yeah, I know a lot
I
of people.
use every excuse because
Yeah.
we would like sneak notes and stuff in like in church too. You know, like we'd see buddies and
Yeah.
we would like people would bring like food from the galley and be handing it over. Yo, it was
That's wild.
boot camp was like that's how you like if you want to know how to be a schemer, you go to boot camp and you learn a lot of tricks. You know.
Oh, absolutely. It's survival, man. I mean, it's not like prison, like you're not going to get shanked or anything, but
Yeah, no.
you do have
But
to
you
learn
do
some
shower
survival.
with a bunch of naked dudes.
Yeah,
They
that
give
is
you
true.
3 square meals a day. You're surrounded by barbed wire, and they tell you what to wear. So it's kind of like prison.
Yeah.
But you know.
And I kind of lost my train of thought. But so yeah, it's the first time I met people that didn't know how to do, like, for my understanding, like basic stuff like we just discussed. And
Yeah.
so I had a great time at boot camp, man, because it was just watching everybody get messed up. You know, it was in a sixth sense, it was kind of funny to me. No, it really was, dude.
Yeah,
Because
100%.
there were people that would be doing push-ups forever because they would ask him, like, who's the commander-in-chief, and, like, they wouldn't know. So, like, they'd just be doing push-ups forever. And you would laugh at that because, like, for you, you're like, you don't know who the president is, bro?
Yeah.
And, oh, damn. And, when it came to, like, as I said, like, folding clothes, I was under the radar the entire time, man. The entire
Yeah.
time. I was under the radar until
Oh,
we
you were one of those guys?
had that final inspection.
Uh-oh.
And one of the RDC came and, like, he, like, slammed his book. And he's like, nah, this can't be. He's like, this is some BS. And then the other RDC went in there and he was like, nah, there's no way. He was, like, asking my RDC, like, did you help him? Because, you know, they look at each other's compartments, right?
Yep.
And then
Yep.
finally, the female RDC, she went in there and she's like, I can't find nothing. And then they're like, who's the head PO? And then, like, I stood up because they had us sitting down. And they're like, bro, who the are you? And I was just there. I was like, oh, recruit Leon, senior chief. And then, like, that's who they knew who I was, man. And then they're like, we're just going to make you do jumping jacks because this is so clean. So, like, I was there doing jumping jacks, and they're like, don't stop until I tell you to stop. Bro, I was there for, like, I want to say, like, 2 hours doing jumping jacks. Like, they forgot about me.
It's always, don't stop till I'm tired.
Yeah, so, like, I was there for, like, 2 hours doing jumping jacks, man. And
Yeah.
after that, that was, like, the beginning and the end of me being on the radar. Again, I just went through it. The only time people recognized me again was, you know, your final thing, the battleship stuff they talk about, they say not to talk about. People were just making fun of me because I was a CB and I will never, ever have to use any of that stuff. So
yeah,
I would
unless
just,
you and your wife go on a nice 7-day cruise to, you know,
yeah, my wife hates cruises,
East
bro.
Asia or somewhere
Yeah.
in Europe.
Right? So,
Oh,
like,
God.
that was pretty much my boot camp experience. It was so quick. It was like a blink of an eye, bro. Like, I was there for, like, I want to say 5, maybe 6 weeks. I might be a little bit off, but I was there so fast. And I went to, so boot camp is over. You fly to your trade school, right?
Mhm.
So I was utilities, so I had to go to Texas. And I went to Texas. So normally there's, like, waiting periods. The reason why I'm talking about this, for me, this was, like, prepping for 2010, like, Afghanistan. So I got there on, like, a Friday, man, to Texas, and I classed up Monday. And there were people that were waiting to class up for
that's-
weeks and months, and they were talking about, like, holding company.
Hurry up and wait. you know?
Yeah, and you just, like, you do, like, these BS chores, like, they make you shine brass and stuff, right?
Yeah,
I
and
never
you go,
did-
you
I never
drive
did
the
none of
van
that.
to pick up the new guys, and
Yeah, the guy that
you
picked me
stand
up.
unlimited watch. Like that's your job. You
Yeah,
stand watch.
the guy that picked me up was there for 2 months.
Yeah,
To be classed up. And
fucking nerd.
yeah, dude, I was just pushed, and I forgot how long our A school was. It was 8 weeks.
I think it's about like 4 months.
Okay, so yeah, it has gotten shorter. So it used to be 8 weeks. It used to be because now to put some stuff in there, I went to boot camp in March.
Well, 8 weeks would be 2 months.
Yeah, I went to boot camp in March.
Mathin'.
I had left in like 5-6 weeks. So we got to there end of April, I think. And then
Yeah, you're definitely a CB.
yeah.
God, I bet you have your shoes right off right now.
Oh, absolutely.
1, 2, 3.
And then 2 months, and then end of August, early. Yeah, actually no, beginning of September 1st, I was on a plane to go to Afghanistan. So like that's how quick it was for me.
Wow.
Yeah, so I was a push division, man, and I remember everything just flying by so fast.
So they took you right from boot camp, pushed you right into A school, right through A school, and how old are you at the time?
I was 23. I just turned
You were
23.
23 years old, and you're on a plane to Afghanistan?
Yeah, but like I did. So we had ECS. I forgot about ECS. So ECS was
Yeah,
a
no,
month
that's
long.
yeah, that's some bullshit though.
Yeah.
I want to hear more about this Afghanistan stuff. So how was that like? Like how long were you there for?
I was in. Well, so I had been there twice, right? So my first deployment,
They told you would go into a nice resort on the beach.
absolutely. I was no, I already knew. You know, they make you watch a bunch of videos and stuff, man, and just to psych you up. On a Sixth Sense, like that's why I joined. You know, we're from New York. It hits us differently. You know, like the Trade Center and all that stuff. Like when
Yeah,
people talk
man,
about,
yeah.
it's very like for us. We remember being in like 7th grade, and I remember watching that stuff, and I thought, what movie are we watching? And since when do we watch movies in social studies? You know, like, and
Yeah.
it just hits differently. So like, I was actually very excited to go to Afghan. As crazy as that sounds, of course there's fear, right? I think fear is very important. So people could say what they want, but it's okay to be afraid. Like I'm not ashamed of that. But I remember going there, and it's supposed to be a 6-month deployment. But it turned out it actually ended up being a 9-month deployment, and
Yeah.
I could explain this. This is funny. So again,
Military has a way with mixing up the 6 and the 9 because they're
Yeah.
always fucking you, man.
so six. It was like 5 months into it. They were like, "Hey, we're gonna have dinner at the galley, and it's gonna be steak and lobster and ice cream." And dude, I am so excited. I am
Ice
so
cream
excited.
in the desert,
Right?
Yeah.
I am so excited. Everybody else was like, "You idiot!" And then I was
Yeah.
like, "What?" You know? And I'm thinking, like, what? Like, are you guys like that sad and depressed that you
Yeah.
want to like actually have a good meal? Like, we don't get meals like this. Not
Yeah.
knowing, like these guys they were veterans, bro. Like they've been here before. 1, so that's something
Mhm.
they have over me. 2.
Yeah.
They have kids, they got like wives and stuff, they got stuff going on with their life. I'm over here trying to wonder like who's in charge and why they in charge, you know? Like,
Yep. Mm-hmm.
so they're like, yeah, man, that's not a good thing. And I was like, you guys are being paranoid. And we get to the galley, and the CO stands on like a table, bro. And then he's like, hey, like, I know you guys have been doing a great job, but like, you know, we have a new mission now, and we're supposed to build another camp. I can talk about that stuff now because we're not even there anymore, right? We're taken back. So we're going to build like Leatherneck, Afghanistan. And they're like, we're going to stay an extra 3 months and complete the mission and hoorah and stuff. Bro, that's when it hit me.
You were like, oh,
I
keep
was
your
like,
fucking ice cream.
yo, no,
Shove
for
this
real,
lobster
bro.
up your ass.
Yo, and it
Hey,
wasn't
for anyone
even...
listening right now, and you can relate to this story, I want you to think about that moment that Leon just went through, and just say, "Fuck you," and
absolutely,
your
man.
fucking ice cream.
Yeah, because...
All right, so you went on and you had to go build a base now. You had
Yeah,
to go. You said Leatherwood,
Leatherneck, Afghanistan.
Leatherneck. Okay.
It's not the most friendliest part of Afghanistan. We
I believe it.
we basically landed in like your average size, I would say, Walmart parking lot. Like it's just an open field, and you have your 360. So it's like a joint mission, by the way, for anybody listening, because I'm not trying to recruit anybody to the Navy or anything like that. I met a lot of great Marines in Army, even Air Force, man. I know we joke about them a lot, but I met some good dudes out there. So we kind of shared the responsibilities, and the Marines mostly did the 360 while the Seabees started building, man. Like, we built everything from scratch. The first thing we built was obviously like berthing and like where we're gonna live, and then like the bathrooms and like the galley and all that stuff. But this is a place where like we had like SEALs and stuff too with us, right? So they were like extremely happy that we were there, man, because before they were like, you know, sleeping under the stars. They were like going to the bathroom in like bags. They would have to burn it and stuff. Like, it was very unsanitary. So our jobs, Seabees, like I like to explain it to civilians as like Clash of Clans, right? So like we just build and like defend bases, right? And they were so happy that we were there, because now they actually get hot meals, get to use the bathroom, get to get some good night's sleep without like camel spiders and stuff like crawling over them. So it was a really great experience in terms of like the type of people I met there, man. And not just the SEALs, I mean like everyone. Later on, once we had like an actual, I would say perimeter, like a fence or whatever you want to call it.
Like a fob?
Yeah, like it was officially like, this is Camp Leatherneck. We started getting like civilians and stuff, which I have a lot of respect for, man. Civilians, they're not, under the Geneva Convention, they aren't allowed to carry weapons. So when stuff went down, they pretty much ran to us, man. It's kind of like when you're in kindergarten and you're not happy, and school's out, all your friends are getting picked up, and then your parents show up and you just like run and hug them. That's pretty much what it felt like.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it was.
Yeah, man, these guys, they didn't have guns and stuff. And it was, I respect that a lot, man. I'm sure they got paid a lot though. Like, to be able to work over there and not be able to defend yourself, like, I'm sure they got paid a lot. I learned a lot from a lot of those guys.
That's a great experience, man. Like,
I wouldn't trade it for the world, man. So like during the time it really sucked. Like, obviously, right? It really sucked during the time I was there. But now I looked at it, it was like my favorite deployment, man. Like, I would not change it for the world.
And you had 2 deployments to Afghanistan, correct?
Was that?
You had 2 deployments to Afghanistan, correct?
Yes.
So your second one can relate to the first one, or did shit hit the fan that time?
No, shit mostly hit the fan on the deployment I'm talking about. I'm just very cautious about what I say.
No. Hey, you're good, man. You're here to, just. I'm pretty sure you've told this story to a few people, but never on a forum like this. And I give you the utmost respect and credit for giving me the opportunity, man.
Oh, absolutely.
I really appreciate it.
I'm just trying not to get you shut down the first time you started,
No, you're good. You're good.
So
anyway, speaking of getting into trouble, that's one thing that I think we all know, right?
Yes.
So on uniforms you have red stripes.
Oh.
If you're a bad boy.
Well,
have you ever had any UCMJ violations any sticky situations you can share with us?
Okay, so before I even tell anybody,
so he does.
Yes, I had 2 of them. They're on my record.
They're on the record.
You think it would be 2 different violations? It's actually the same thing, which is even more dumb. But
oh god,
it was. I had a lot to learn earlier in my career. Again, I'm from a different place, different community, and then I went to New York. No offense, Vin, but it wasn't much better on like building my social skills or I guess handling my anger, right? I had a lot of issues. I had a very rough like New York mentality. And people in the military, they talk a lot of shit, man. Like, they really do. Because it's just such a diverse culture. And you have a lot of people that are willing to like experience that culture with you, but then you have people that talk down on it too. And we're talking about like 2010, right? Today's day and age, like you can't do stuff like that. Like the Navy does not put up with that shit. No, it is.
It's
the
a
Marine
different
Corps.
world,
It's
man.
a different world.
It's a different world.
It is. It's a good direction. Personally, it's a good direction because if those were the directions when I was there and I was able to tell somebody like what was going on, it would have been handled differently and
Yeah.
it probably would have stopped. But I didn't have that. We didn't have those like policies and stuff. And anyways, so getting in trouble, I had this first class, so it's the rank I am now. It's an E6. He was a big old country boy. Not the nicest person. He was in charge of me, but I never actually worked with him. For the first few months, I do what you call entry control point. So we go to the front gate and we monitor who comes in and out, and we search the locals and trucks and all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
So like I never had to deal with this dude. But then they rotated us, so I was in camp maintenance, which is like taking care of the base, making sure all the ACs work and the refrigerators, and if stuff's broken, we fix it. And so I actually had to work with this dude. And like like the first 20 minutes, like I already hear like the commentary that comes out of his mouth. It's super racist. Now, I know people didn't like him, but you know, man, New York, like we don't really form our opinion until we actually talk to that person. You can tell me shit about your boy all the time. Like I would not form an opinion until I meet this dude. And
yeah, I don't judge a book by its cover.
Absolutely.
I read the back of it.
Yes. Spark Notes.
You know?
But I got the Spark Notes version in like 5 minutes, man, talking to this dude. And he called me some derogatory because I look Indian descent. And he started calling me stuff and I was like, hey man, like chill, you know? But like he would like spew out the N-bomb all the time. He would drop like Hispanic ones too. Like there's a couple like different races. If you weren't, you know, big old country white boy, like that was his problem, right?
Yeah.
And I remember being super frustrated digging like this trench, right? Because we're basically trying to create a barrier between the locals that would try to do like roadside bombs and stuff. So if we have that there, we can kind of like deter them so they can crash before they even get, I don't know, 200 meters to us, right? It's hot, bro. It's like Afghan is the hottest and the coldest place you will ever be in your entire life. I'm talking about 130 degrees and the locals are telling you, oh, it's a blessing today. Like it's usually 145 and you're like, you're insane. Like I'm wearing full kit and Kevlar.
Yeah.
And then at nighttime, it's like -4 because like there's no sun, there's wind chill, it's the desert. So like it's the hottest and the coldest place you've been, man. So I'm just giving you perspective. Like it's hot, it's sweating. It doesn't matter how much water I drink. I probably drank like 2-3 gallons at this point, and I haven't peed once. It's
literally FUBAR.
Yeah, dude. And I'm just so angry doing this. And then he's coming here and telling me now it needs to be wider. Now I need to backfill it some because it's too deep. And and then he's like, come on, Aladdin, you should be used to this. And I was like, wait, what the? And I think I just saw red, man. And I jumped out. I put down my rifle, just so you guys know. I put down my rifle. I did not hit him with my rifle. So I did not hit him with my rifle. So I ran up and I punched him in the face. We both fell on the ground because, like, you wearing your Kevlar and stuff, man, you have an extra 60 pounds. So when you, like, if you're not trained to shift your weight like that, like, you're gonna fall over. So it has nothing to be with him being, like, that big or me being too weak. It's just that we both went off balance and fell. And then people, like, got us off each other and stuff. So, there's not a lot of drama that happens on these deployments because normally everybody's, like, super good with each other or they just hate each other and they don't talk. So my point is, stuff flies. Like, information just spreads, kind of like high school. It's people just talk, and then you get to the galley and like you hear different stories of you. So they're like, yeah, man, I heard you like, you know, knocked him out and like took his money. I'm like, what are you talking about? And like
it's like high school all over again, you know?
And I'm just like, what the hell? So then I'm like leaving the galley, and then I get called by the chain of command, my upper chain of command. So they already know. we're talking about like maybe an hour and a half ago. So they already know. And I had, for anybody listening, when you get in trouble, you usually have what you call a disciplinary review board. So it's usually your internal chain of command, usually like E7s, like chiefs and stuff. And they might call a few other chiefs to have fun. So they just basically tear you a new one, try to find out like what's happening, and if it needs to go higher. So then you go to like XOI. And XOI is your basically the second in command, pretty much. And that dude either makes a decision, or if it's like really bad, you go to Captain's Mast, which is obviously your captain. Well, I skipped the other two phases.
And you went right to Captain's Mast?
I went to Captain's Mast. I was wearing like the most dog shit uniform known to man because I was working in a trench, bro. Like,
yeah, there's no necks out there. Like, what do you want me to do? I'm sorry, the dry cleaner's a fucking mule, you know?
Yeah. First of all, I barely made it into the so they did it in the chapel, which is hilarious, right? Because everybody's cussing, nobody gives a shit, right? I walk in, and then out of everybody, you know who let me down the most, bro? Chaps was like, "You really go tracing dirt in here, bro?" And I'm just bro, nobody said anything before like he even said something, and I was like, what the hell? And then so this is 1800, so they made me eat dinner first because obviously they have to, they can get in trouble for that. But I show up there, my stomach is bubbling, by the way, because I get IBS. Ever since I was a child, I get IBS. I get nervous, and I have to go use a shitter, and I'm usually good after that. Well, I didn't have time to do that, right?
Oh, no.
Yeah, dude. I go in there, I rip one. They yell at me for that. So, in my mind, I'm like, we gotta speed this up, right? So then...
Yeah, just give me my punishment, let's get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, dude, because I'm like, I'm gonna fucking shit this place, dude.
The Chap's about to be really pissed.
Bro, Chaps, I was like, God's gonna be really mad.
You better be calling for God in that porta potty.
Oh man, that's a whole other story. But so I'm standing there, I'm just getting yelled at, and the story is just shifting, right? And I'm just like, they're like, finally, my CEO, he is actually a really good guy. Actually, I met him earlier this year. He's Captain Do-It now. He used to be Commander Do-It when he was my CO.
Shout out to him.
Shout out to him, man. This dude, he was the only one not yelling in the room, which is crazy. And he was like, all right, let me hear your side of the story. So I told him. While I'm telling him the story, his eyes are just like super focused on me. Like I can tell this dude's actually listening to me from everybody that was just yelling and cussing, pointing, spitting in my face. I'm just he's actually listening to me. And then he's looking around the room because he's looking at the chain of command that clearly didn't even bother hearing my side of the story, because this could have been ending at like ended at like the lowest level. Like he should not had to waste his time. It's Afghanistan, man. I'm sure he had better things to do than to do.
He had he missed the pool.
UTCR Leon, like he has better things to put his time on. So now
I
was an E1.
Oh god, you can't even get bumped down.
Yeah,
I bet you were hoping maybe they'll just kick me out.
Yeah, no. So
maybe they'll just reverse my rank.
Like when your LES says that you're an E2, but like you haven't got that pay yet, right?
Yeah.
So like they started getting knocking on the door, and normally, if anybody knows, whenever there's Captain's Mast going on, that's usually the captain's time and whoever is being sent up there. In this case, me. There's signs, there's people at the door, so there's no knocking. There is no, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know you were doing something in here. Like, it's off limits. Everybody knows. It's usually scheduled. There was knocking on the door, which is very weird, and I'm confused at this point, because I was like, who's knocking? And then, they bring my best friend in, my first class that was calling me derogatory terms. And they, like, separated us. And I was like, oh, so they probably coming to hear his side of the story. Nah, bro.
Uh-oh.
Other knocks started happening. I was like, okay, there was nobody else there, so there's no witnesses. So I'm still kind of new at this point, right? I'm very new. I'm still learning people. Bunch of people started knocking. CEO's like, all right, just let him in. Like, he's like, I'm tired of this already. So like, dude, it was like a bunch of people just coming out of the wet work. He's like, oh, he called me the N-word. He called me this. And unfortunately, for my best friend that I got into a fight with, my Master Chief was actually a black dude. Like, and his eyes was...
They just lit up like a Christmas tree.
Bro, and he was like, you know how they get. They're like, you in my Navy for 18 years and you've been like this the whole time? And then like, all the I guess the negative stuff turned from me to like him. And they just went in, bro. And then they finally told me to go outside and start a stand-up parade rest. And while I was there, a couple like chiefs and stuff came up and told me to relax. And now I'm like confused because like, 2 minutes ago you were yelling at me, cussing at me, telling me I was a piece of shit. And they were like explaining to me everything. And they're like, hey, I'm really sorry that happened to you. And like, we didn't know this was going on. I was like, have you guys like talked to him though? Like you would know. Like he talks to everyone like this. And finally they do everything. And I actually didn't get in any kind of serious trouble. So
good.
I felt like I got promoted, dude. They put me in like they put me in the MWR. For anybody that doesn't know what that is, they sell like snacks and energy drinks and stuff. Like you go get your little pick-me-ups, and you can also use like computers and phones to like call back home. And like I was in charge of that because I wasn't allowed to have a weapon.
So for anyone listening that's active duty, just find your leadership and punch him in the face. Maybe it'll work out for you.
Yeah, don't do that, especially today.
That's funny, man. That's funny. All right, Leon. Your second time you got in trouble. How did that kind of play out?
Kind of the same situation. This was in Guam. I was an E4. And I was on a project. We were building a medical facility. It's like a smaller hospital because the hospital was kind of far away. So we were building like this little hospital so like other units and stuff can check in there and get stuff done.
Yeah.
And I was doing the utilities. So it's like your plumbing, your HVAC and stuff. And I had another first class. So race thing used to be a huge problem back in the day. Now it's like almost non-existent, guys. So like if you're listening and you're thinking about the military, don't just think you're just joining this racist organization. Things have changed a lot, man. You cannot get away with this stuff. And this was
it's definitely turned for the better. You know,
it has gotten
people
a lot
have
better.
to watch what they say now, but at the same time, that's a good thing because like, treat others the way you want to be treated. I know maybe, I sound like a dad or a mom saying that, but at the end of the day, like these are going to be the people that you're friends with for a very long time, and you're going to end up seeing these people eventually.
Yes.
And if you end up working with them, you don't want it to be awkward. You don't want these situations to repeat and reoccur. So yeah.
So yeah, I was on that project. I was doing some work, I'm gonna speed up I know we've been talking about this for a while. Some racist stuff.
Keep it going.
Like kind of happened again. I got into a fight. This time it's a first class as well. Now this one took a little bit to actually kick off because everyone kind of knew this guy. So like it was they actually went about it the right way. They talked to people. They got stories because this happened in front of everyone. This. Obviously, I'm not justifying what I did. This went down the way it's supposed to, right? You talk some shit, you get hit for it, and then you talk about your punishment after. I got busted down from E4 to E3. He got force retired. So if anybody doesn't know what force retired is, it's when you're pretty close to retirement, and they just kind of like let you go. Like, they take away some benefits, which I think retirement is like the biggest thing that out of all that list of things. So your retirement, like the money you get for your 20 years of service, they definitely take that away. But you still get to keep like your GI Bill and stuff. So like there's still ways you get money somehow.
Yeah, you get a big grunt of it, but you didn't finish yours. So.
No, you didn't. And so he got sent there. I was busted down from E4 to E3, and then finished that deployment, got back to the States, California, and the exam was coming out, and they were like, "You're not on the list." And I'm like, "What do you mean? Like, I'm eligible for the exam?" Turns out I was supposed to write an essay to my CEO and explaining why I was a competent and responsible E3 eligible for the E4 exam.
Yeah. Hey, man, listen, I joined the military so I don't have to write fucking essays.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, dude.
and take these tests. Just let me live my life, pay me on the 1st and the 15th, and we'll call it a day.
Yeah, now, unfortunately, I wasn't as lucky as the kids today because you guys have AI and stuff. You can get a 10-page paper in 10 seconds. I had to write
You're not wrong, bro. Yeah. I don't think anybody listening or anybody currently has ever actually completed an e-learning or a JKO or an online training the correct and right way.
Yeah.
Ever.
Everybody just, you either click through. Some of the stuff is actually... It doesn't make sense, so you kind of like just click through it, and then some of it you have to actually like go on, what do you call that, Quizlet and stuff. Like you go to Quizlet, and then you're like trying to find the answers, and it's
the day that the MWR bans those off their computers is the day you see a huge drop in the military.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you got busted down, and now you're at E6. So. I mean, you came a long way. You know, there's a lot that happened in between, and
yes, I
applaud you for that. And I hope nothing but the best for you, man. Really, you know,
I appreciate
you're a great dude. You got a great story. You got a great background. You got a supportive family. You know.
Yeah.
I do have some questions that I kind of want to ask you now too, though. I want to know, do you have a memorable story in the military? Like, just one example of one situation where you were like, you know what? I'm fucking glad I joined the military.
Okay, yeah. So this kind of ties into like me being in trouble. This is crazy that you asked this question. No, dude, because like I told you, I had a bad attitude. I felt like everybody's out to get me. I swing first, ask questions later. And because I had a lot of trauma, man, from before the military. So like, and that unfortunately carried over with me in the military. No 2 months of boot camp, it's not gonna erase your childhood trauma. It's not how it works. But my most memorable story is I had this senior chief. He is now a command master chief. He's in charge of one of those like underwater construction teams now. He's like the master chief there.
Oh, dope! That's cool.
Master Chief Kadena. He was a senior chief then, and this dude had a crazy life too, man. And he explained a lot of things to me that he did and how his life was, and he showed me pictures and stuff. I'm not going to talk about his experience. I can talk to him to like try to get him to talk to you, but I won't say anything here. But he's a great dude. I remember this because it's the turning point in my life, man. He sat me down and he didn't talk to me as like a superior. He didn't talk to me as like someone in the military. He didn't talk to me as like a lawyer or attorney or nothing. Like he sat me down and he talked to me as like a person, like a man talking to a
human being.
Man. Yeah. And he was explaining to me like the path I'm taking and like where I'm going and where do I see myself, and like it really hit me, man. That dude, like he really touched a part of me that inside that I never even accessed, if that makes sense. I didn't know I had access to. Like he just kind of unlocked something. And
I have to agree, man. We all have a person like that we've met in our career that you're like, you know, one day you're down and you're like, this fucking sucks.
Yeah.
And then you meet this one guy or this one girl and you kind of they relate to you and they're like, hey man,
Yeah, that's exactly.
I was in the same shoes, man,
Nah.
but you know what? Shit ain't that bad. It stinks,
Yes.
but it's not that bad.
I think it's very important to find a mentor, and I'm not just mean this for military people. I mean this for anyone that's listening to this. It is important to have a mentor, somebody that's like doing something that you maybe not want to possibly do exactly that, but I promise you, it's the same. It's a marathon, not a sprint, and they have experience in that. And this person like saw the best in me, I guess, potential to be better. And another thing I want to cover with the whole mentor thing, don't get comfortable with a mentor that's like, oh, he's so cool, I want to be just like him, he's funny as hell. Like, those are not good characteristics of a mentor. My mentor was very, very tough on me. He held me accountable, and let's be real, even today, like, a lot of people don't like to be held accountable. But when somebody asks you, like, for instance, a good example, like, we have our warfare devices that you have to, like, obtain and stuff.
Yep.
He would always ask me, like, hey, let me see your book. What did you get signed off? What's the, I don't know, the point or range target of, like, a M16? Like, he actually kept me on my toes the whole time, man. And then he basically checked up on me all the time. He'd ask my chain of command about me all the time. And CB is a very small community, and I've ran into this dude a lot, and we always sit down and have like great conversations. And like, yeah, I consider him my friend. Like, I always check up on him. He always checks up on me.
Yeah, you're still in contact with him?
Absolutely, man.
That's good.
He's a good
That's
dude.
good. Do you have any advice before I let you go for the people listening? Anything you want to say? Those who are active, those who are retired, those who are thinking, those who have no desire but just like to listen to our stories?
Yeah, man. So the military is a huge melting pot, and I'm not just talking about like diversity and like culture and like types of people in general. I just mean even the experiences, man. You're gonna have a lot of good experiences and you're gonna have a lot of bad experiences. But like all those experiences, man, they're gonna help you find out who you really are. I think the military is actually a good way to start your life. Like 100%, I think a lot of countries have it right where they have like the mandatory serving at like 18 and stuff. Because again, for that enlistment, you learn things about yourself, like how comfortable you are alone, how well you handle pressure, how much you can learn to be able to deal with stress. Without your mom and dad to take care of you,
Yep.
You have to worry about your taxes, your own finances. You have to make like groups, like friendships, and you're gonna find out what kind of group works for you. You have to make connections. These are all things that high school and college does not teach you. Like, these are like life experiences. And that first term, like, you don't like it, man, you can get out. No one's gonna force your hand to like make you sign up. But all those experiences, it's gonna pay off in the long run. I promise you.
Yeah.
I didn't think
I
I
agree,
would be
man.
in this long. I didn't. But again, I'm not here to recruit anybody. I am not here to tell anybody to get out. The military sucks. It has its pros and cons, man. And at the end of the day, you just have to like decide what you want. But I'm mostly talking to the people that has no idea about the military. I wouldn't trade it for the world. I really wouldn't. I wouldn't have met you. Like, you're one of my best homies.
Yeah. Yeah, man. No, definitely.
But the crazy thing is, like, we're both from New York. And you're from like Brooklyn, more like Queens area. But we had probably never met. Like,
No, I'm a white Italian and you're from the Caribbean.
Yes.
From a different borough. We would have probably maybe crossed paths, but
maybe on a train or
You
something.
know.
But like,
yeah, but it wouldn't have turned out to what it has been.
And I've grown a lot. So like, if we did meet, I probably wouldn't want to fight you for no reason. But what I'm saying is that these are all things I've overcome in the military because of the military. So it has its pros and cons. Like, yes, I've missed a lot of birthdays and anniversaries. I lost my sister 2 years ago. I literally got to the Caribbean, man, and I was 10 minutes away from the hospital when she passed. And these are the things.
I'm sorry to hear that.
These are the things that.
You listen and knock on wood.
Yeah, these are the things that does make you question the military sometimes, because it's just the process of like getting me out there. Because there's a lot of paperwork. Where does the money come from? Red Cross messages. Like it takes time. It doesn't like, hey, your mom is dying, get on a plane. Like that's not how it works. Everything has a way it gets done, and unfortunately for me, it wasn't fast enough, and it's just something I have to live with, man. It's
the ultimate sacrifice.
Yes, it is the ultimate sacrifice. That's why it's called service, not not,
Yeah. Yeah, you're getting paid for it, but
yeah, but you're gonna have a lot of memorable stories, and not all of those are gonna be great, man. But I promise you, it will help you grow. I would never see myself still in the military. I would not have all these awards and medals and people that I'm like a unicorn, dude. Like people hear stories about me all the time, and then they just go batshit crazy when they see me because they like heard about something I did. And it's just a great feeling. I've grown a lot. I wouldn't change it.
I'm glad, man. I'm honored, and I'm thankful that you came to tell your story and join me on this endeavor.
Yeah, man.
Leon, thank you again. And for everyone listening, thank you for tuning in to the Fighting for Freedom podcast. It's been a great episode. Have a great night.
Awesome. Good night, guys.
All right. We're done, but just give me 1 second. I'm uploading.
Okay.
And then,
Views presented are those of the speaker, and the guest do not necessarily represent the views of the Department of Defense or its components. Neither the Department of Defense or its components bears any responsibility for the accuracy, legality, or content of the views discussed on this podcast. Now, without further ado, let's get into this.